Hoarding is a behavior where people or animals accumulate food or other items. It is also a persistent difficulty in discarding or parting with possessions because of a perceived need to save them. So let's put this in the context of hoarding a win. It is a persistent difficulty in parting with, sharing your win because of a perceived need to save them, to hoard them. Think about what you're telling yourself by not sharing that win. Why do you need to save that? Are you afraid that you're not going to get another win? Are you afraid that it's going to get taken away? Are you afraid that another one won't come in? Do you see what's happening there energetically? I want you to think about it from that lens. This difficulty is due to a perceived need to save the items or the win and the perceived distress associated with parting with it. A lot of times you don't celebrate your wins also because there is a perceived distress. Think about how often you might think that your win is a brag, or that you think that other people will judge it, or that you think that people will compare it, or that you think that it's not good enough, or that it's not a big enough win, or that the win is too small, or that you're going to make someone else feel bad. That's all perceived distress. It is also a coping mechanism that can turn into a disorder. Hoarding brings a false sense of security and comfort. Now, we're talking about a win in the context of the work that we're doing. Anything and everything, it's personal to you and where you're at along your journey. Let me give you examples. Breaking a habit or starting a habit, saying no, saying yes, spending on yourself, time, money, energy. There are so many ways a win can show up. Making a declaration can be a win. Think about how powerful that is. I'm going to go ahead and say it. There, I said it. I'm ready to quit my job. There, I said it. I'm ready to get out of this relationship. There, I said it. I'm ready to leave this industry. I'm going to go do something really scary. I'm going to go ahead and start this business. Sometimes that is a win. And again, in the right safe spaces, you should 100% share them because it supports your success and it helps and rallies your support system around you, creating more and more abundance and love and support for you so that you can move towards those desires. What is a win? Choosing to do the right thing, choosing to do the hard thing, choosing to do the easy thing. For some of us, think about how many times we celebrate. You know what? I said, I'm not going to do this to myself. I'm going to choose ease. I'm going to cancel my plans. Yay, right? For some of us, it's, you know what? I know it's going to take more work, but I would rather do it right and take 10 hours to do it the first time than just try to just cut corners and do it all the first time. Literally anything and everything that matters to you. Nowhere in here does it say that a win is a promotion. Nowhere in here does it say that a win is losing 10 pounds. For some of us, it might be gaining 10 pounds. We have to take outcomes, attachments off the pedestal. And then we have to see that a win is really in many ways anything that is a big deal to you. Staying in, going out, coming home early, staying out late. Do you see what I'm saying here? There is no right or wrong way. Think about what would be the win for you. Stopping yourself. Pushing yourself, knowing when to rest, knowing when to push, choosing a new thought. Please celebrate with me. For the first time ever, my boss asked me in for a last-minute meeting and I didn't panic. I've never done that before. In the 5 years that I've been under his management, I realized that that was a new thought for me. And it's a really big deal because, and I'm going to acknowledge that, and I'm going to internalize that I see that I'm capable of changing my programming, that I'm capable of growing, that I'm capable of letting go of old programming, letting go of old habits, that I know how to stop being a scared little chicken, right? There are so many ways to celebrate yourself. Making the first move, working out, meal prepping, grocery shopping, literally anything and everything that you want it to be. I could go on and on and on, but I think at a certain point it would just get silly. But do some of these examples help you see that maybe you have not been fully internalized and acknowledging all the ways that you have actually been doing great and really growing in a major way? What I'm trying to get y'all to understand is it's not just about celebrating the win. It's about actually understanding. It's actually about putting you in a state of winning and realizing that you are always winning. The more and more you celebrate and share your wins, the more you realize that you are always winning. And why is that important? Because winning isn't just an action. It's a mindset. Winners have a winning attitude. Winning isn't just an action. It's a lifestyle. Winners have winning habits. Winning isn't just an action. It is a state of being. Winners always win because of this. And it ripples into other areas of their lives. Winners ripple winning throughout their entire life. Why? Because it's a mindset, because it's a lifestyle, because it's a state of being. And when you always celebrate your wins and you see everything as a win, that is who you are, and it ripples into every area of your life. Winners will always have a winning team, and winners make things happen. Losers sit around and let life happen to them and then cry about it. Losers let life happen to them and then they cry about it and then become victims and let it be reasons for why they can't win. This is why I can't win, because this happened to me. It's like, well, that's a losing mindset. That's a losing state of being. That is a losing way to look at things. Let's go into signs that you may be hoarding wins. Chronic win hoarders. First of all, y'all are always waiting until the right time to share your win. That in itself is already a hoarding win mindset. It is not a winning mindset, because what you're saying is that there's a right time to win, that there's a right time that it's appropriate to win, it's a right time to share your win, and it's conditional. Think about how many times you've told yourself that you're going to wait until the right time to share your win, and then you never share it in the first place. Then you miss out on the opportunity to process it, which means that you never get to internalize it in the first place. Then you miss out on the opportunity to practice gratitude, to appreciate all the ways that you got there, all the people that supported you along the way. So think about all of the missed opportunity that comes with you waiting for the right time. And you could literally say that about anything. It's a metaphor for anything. Think about how much you miss out on life every time you are waiting. Don't wait. That in itself is a way of being. That in itself is a mindset as well. You feel unsure if your win is worthy of sharing. Well, if you're feeling unsure that your win is worthy of sharing, then once again, this is the way that you operate. This is the way that you think about things. That means you're probably waiting until the right time. You're overthinking. And once again, you're actually moving in the opposite flow of a winning mindset. And you're actually moving more towards a self-doubt and a overthinking mindset. You feel insecure that your win is too big or too small. A lot of times, sometimes you might think that a win is too small, and then you're playing comparison of like, oh, I feel silly celebrating this win. I sold a picture for $100. It's like so dumb. Everybody else is like talking about big promotions, right? But again, you're thinking about it the wrong way. So again, this is a muscle that you build, and it puts you in the seat of being a winner. Regardless, having a winning attitude should not be conditional, is my entire point. Overthinking what people will think about your win. That win is your win. It belongs to you. Who gives a what other people think about it? And that is the entire point of why I said a win is anything and everything that matters to you. And what you're saying is, if you are worried about what other people think about your win, then what you're saying is that your win doesn't matter. And then you're saying that you don't matter. And then you're saying that your growth doesn't matter. The implications behind that, there's a huge ripple effect behind it. Let's talk about the ripple effect of hoarding wins. When you hoard your wins, you never internalize what you've done or learned in the process, which can lead to never overcoming things like perfectionism, burnout, or imposter syndrome. You didn't actually learn the lesson. So we think learning the lesson is just when you get a hard mirror and what you did wrong, but you also have to learn the lesson in what you did right. You also have to learn the lesson in what went right. You also have to learn the lesson in how you got that win. There is a lesson in your wins just as much as lessons that you get by mirrors, mistakes, errors, and so forth. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't realize that you are winning enough all the time, you never think it's good enough. So you're constantly striving, you're constantly burning out, you constantly have imposter syndrome because you don't actually ever internalize you are in fact an expert. You are in fact legit. You are in fact really, really good at what you do. You can in fact take a break for once. You can actually pump the brakes. You can actually lay off the gas pedal. It's okay. You made a mistake one time. Look at all the other ways you won this week. What you focus on expands. And so focus on all the ways that you are winning. And you will also be able to have more compassion for yourself. You'll be able to cut yourself some slack, and you'll actually maybe realize that you're actually doing quite enough. Similarly, the ripple effect of hoarding wins is you never see the evidence around who you are, which leaves you constantly looking for more evidence. And then you end up even more empty and even more burned out and even more not knowing who you are, which makes you continually chase achievements to define you. You are not an achievement. You are a person. You are you. And you need you to define you and who you are, not just a bunch of you did. Hoarding wins also perpetuates the narrative, story, belief that you're not important and that you don't matter, or that people don't love you, care about you, or see you. And then another ripple effect of hoarding wins is accumulating micro resentments from the people who support you, then feeling the guilt and shame from the micro resentment energy you feel. Have y'all ever felt a micro resentment from someone who has not thanked you for something? You know what that feels like. So what I would recommend that you do is don't be someone that's creating more of that energy too. Don't be that person that's creating that energy. By celebrating your wins, you naturally end up folding in gratitude for the process, gratitude for the people that were part of that win. So what you're rippling out is appreciation for yourself, for everybody that was involved. That's what you ripple out. When you hoard the win, what are you rippling? Nothing. You're keeping it to yourself and then letting it disintegrate instead, right? So think about what you want to do with your energy and what's happening in your life. When you keep hoarding your wins, you're just constantly chasing the next arbitrary goal or achievement. You're chronically in distant and disconnected relationships, because celebrating is what brings people together. A birthday party brings people together. A 100-year celebration brings people together. A retirement party brings people together. A wedding brings people together. So in that same way, when you share even the smallest wins, what you're actually doing is you're bringing yourself closer to other people. You're actually creating more connection, not disconnection. When you hoard wins, you never feel accomplished enough. You never feel good enough, or ironically, winning enough, which makes sense, right? It's pretty simple math. And then burnout, shame, repeat. Because once again, the ripple effect of that is if you are sharing those wins regularly, you see how great you're doing. You don't keep on striving. You learn how to give yourself rest because you recognize that you're actually doing a really, really great job. Sharing and celebrating your wins reinforces your CDFs. It reminds you that you can access your CDFs in small ways every single day, which keeps you from chasing those arbitrary goals, by the way. This keeps you staying in a state of gratitude and abundance, which ultimately keeps you off that arbitrary hamster wheel, chasing after that next thing. Remember, the only reason that you want anything is because of how it makes you feel. Think about how good it feels every time you celebrate a win. Think about how good it feels. I feel so fresh. I feel so free. I feel so clean. I feel so light. I feel so proud. When you are feeling those things all the time, you feel less and less of the lack of your life. And the only reason why you chase and look for love in all the wrong places is because you feel lack. That's it. But what if nothing was actually lacking? Because you see that you are always winning, right? So that's how we want to flip the perspective. Then we won't settle, then we won't chase, et cetera, et cetera. In the same way, negative experiences and traumatic feelings have caused us to hold ourselves back. Celebrating wins teaches us we are capable and worthy. So you know how, let's say you have a negative experience, right? You spoke up in a classroom and then you got made fun of when you were 8. So you never raise your hand and speak up anymore. So that's why you're quiet. You never crack jokes because you don't want to be embarrassed, right? So that negative experience causes you to shy away from doing the thing, right? Because you don't want to feel hurt again. But in that same way, the more and more you share your wins, it does the opposite effect as well. You're evidence building again and again and again. I did it. I can do it. I'm capable. I'm trustworthy. I know how to make myself proud. I actually lack nothing. Look at how full I am. Look at how abundant I am. You feel less of that void. You feel less tempted to go towards the things that you know don't actually serve you, because you see that you are so capable of filling your cup in the way that is most healthy and fulfilling for you. Work smarter, not harder. What you focus on expands. So the more energy you put into celebrating your wins, the more easily and freely they'll be part of your life. Sharing and celebrating your wins, y'all, releases happy hormones, which lowers stress, reduces anxiety, curbs depression, and helps you relax. Let's look at it a different way. When you share and celebrate your wins regularly, you release happy hormones, which means you reach less for those quick fixes. You reach less for your addictions because you're fulfilled, you're satisfied. You see that you're fulfilled. You lower your stress. You feel less anxiety. You feel less void, aka depression. You feel more relaxed, so you are less likely to go after your coping mechanisms. You're less likely to reach for your addiction. This is how deep it runs, y'all. And I really want to make sure that we understand the depth. I'm going to leave you with a couple things to noodle on and to really think about. Let's go deeper. Think about what you are telling yourself by not sharing your wins. Are you not proud of yourself? Are your wins not good enough? What are you actually saying without saying it? You are saying so much to yourself by actually not sharing out loud with others. Think about what you're putting out into the world by not sharing your wins. What are you actually communicating? What is the image that you're putting out? Do you struggle to feel happy for other people's wins? Do you struggle with jealousy, envy, and comparison mode? I'll say this a different way. To me, if you are not putting your wins out into the world, it's no surprise to me that you are also someone that gets triggered by someone else's wins. What is the energy that you're sharing? Are you sharing being generous and creating joy? Are you part of that? Or are you keeping it to yourself, being stingy and actually creating disconnect? You're adding to that disconnect. What are you actually adding? Are you adding connection or are you adding disconnect? Are you giving or are you taking? Someone that never celebrates anything, they're off in their own lone wolf world, doing their own thing, hoarding all their acorns and salaries, upgrades and bonuses and whatever. There's a very kind of brooding, kind of stingy, kind of Eeyore energy behind that. And that ripples in other ways that you may not realize and you may not think it's a big deal, but trust, it's felt. It's felt whether conscious or not.